So should I be looking at the camera ever?
Hold on, we're not getting any sound.
Wait, what did I say? My man. What? Welcome to my track by track. I feel like you have to get the giggles out.
It's all part of the process.
Hey, my name is Emelia, and you're probably wondering what the heck you're doing in my living room. Well, I brought you here today to talk to you about my debut EP, On My Way. The first song on the EP is called We Can Dance. I wrote this song in summer of 2021. I was on a trip to New York. There was a little tune that struck a chord as I was walking down the street, and it was this, oh, we can dance, da 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 da. I brought it to my best friend, Anna Bettendorf. We kind of fleshed out the chords for it. I think Anna and I really approached it with this sort of philosophy where we were just kind of like, let's just throw paint at the wall and see what sticks. And I remember one day I was sitting with her in her bedroom and I was like, should I just write a rap? And she was like, yes. One of the things that I wanted to work with lyrically in the song was just like that philosophical weight behind the lyrics and how to balance this life that we live in that's very serious and worth living, and then also this like being fun and dancing. When we work, like what are we working for? Is it just the money, or like where should we spend our time? I was able to take it to David Francisco along with the other tracks in this EP. We were basically like copying and pasting a live performance that we were doing for a live talent show at UCLA. And so what we were able to do is take the song out of this sort of like live recorded jazz musicians who are in college just kind of like playing down a song in a studio to playing with production and giving it that sort of like pop Dua Lipa production. The song is still as special and meaningful now as it was when I wrote it. It's just a really beautiful reminder that like the ideals and the values that you hold grow with you and like follow you as you go into the new stages of your life. Track number 2 is a black guitar. Actually about this black guitar right here. When I was little, I remembered seeing this guitar around the house, but not really seeing my dad ever play it. Once he became pretty much the head of the household, he had to really jump into taking care of my brother and I. And so when he handed it to me, he said, you know, I bought this guitar so that I didn't lose myself. And I looked at him and I reminded him of all of the times that he had shared with me that he really found himself in being our dad. I like walked into my apartment with this guitar and I just like broke down and like told my roommates, and they were like, Emily, that's a song. At the time, I was a little too emotional to write the song because it's such a beautiful story of sacrifice and love. But one day I just started writing it and I couldn't stop, and it was the day that I realized, oh, this song needs to be a bolero. My dad loves that style. And so I just was like, you know what? This is a sign. I have to write this song about this black guitar and it needs to be a bolero. The song is very special. We recorded it live in the studio. I brought in my buddies Anthony Capetto and Stuart Crespo and Liam Wallace. My friend Stuart brought his requinto, and we just played it and had a great time in the studio. The refrain of the song is, when it rains, nothing ever goes to waste. When you give your love away, every piece will find its place. And in a lot of ways, that was my dad's life. He really invested so much in my brother and I, and it's because of how much he invested in my musical journey that I was able to even write this song. So it kind of feels really beautifully full circle. Every piece found its place and every part of the story was necessary, and I'm really grateful for all of the events that led to the creation of this song. The next song on the EP is called The Circle. There are some songs that take days, months, years, and some songs that take 10 minutes. This song started off from the perspective of a family member of mine. I really just in that moment was really feeling their emotions and their feelings and wanting to express my solidarity and compassion for their circumstance with them. But in writing, you can never really remove yourself from the equation. So I think I was still using experiences in my own childhood, but it was predominantly from another point of view. You serve the song, and the song is always like wanting what it needs. And I really do think that if you're like following that curiosity, you won't end up where you think you are supposed to end up. And so we were supposed to finish the song, but we ended up taking it to David. That day in the studio was probably one of the greatest musical experiences. I was in the studio with Anna and David, and we just did a run through in the dark, and we played through the song, and it really was also a reminder to me that, like, as much as music is for other people, this art is cathartic, and it really does heal me as well. And that day in the studio was one of those, wow, like a moment of release. My hope is really to be like in the passenger seat of someone who's experiencing what it is to feel left out and unheard, and to have a friend who is there to be with you in these feelings, and then to also have that hope at the end that even though we're dealing with this, like, I hope that I can find a way out. Now we have come to our 5 o'clock number, which is On My Way, which is the title track of the EP. This was the first song that I wrote on the guitar, which is crazy. And I had actually just come back from a trip all the way in Jerusalem. A friend of mine on the trip really brought forth this idea that, like, our entire life is a journey. It's a walk toward our destiny. It's kind of like a pilgrimage. And that was like a really like beautiful concept that I wanted to hold on to as I was kind of going into this new and scary season of my life that was very unknown after graduation. It was after writing this song that I realized I need to produce my music. I need to like make a project. I think for that entire year I was like really sleeping on my art because, you know, it does take a lot of energy and resources to produce these things. But it was after writing this song that I was like, wait, I can't wait any longer. Like, I need this song for me. And it was a turning point, a really big turning point in my year post-grad. I brought it to David, and this was the first song that we worked on. We just kind of like tuned the guitar to open D and started throwing paint at the wall, and it was just so much fun. My dream for this song is to also sit in the passenger seat with anyone else who is on their way, on their journey. When you're young, in your 20s and 30s, and you're discovering things, you tend to want to think that you know exactly where you're going, and we don't. And that's really scary, but that's also a beautiful adventure. I think this song was a little bit like my way of like telling myself that it's okay to not have everything figured out. And I'm really glad that I wrote that, because that is a reminder that I need to tell myself very often. And I also thought that that title was perfect for this first EP. If you take a listen to this EP, you'll hear that these 5 songs are very different from each other. There is no like set genre, and there doesn't need to be, because we're on our way, and that's kind of my excuse for that as well. So I hope you enjoy On My Way, and yeah, that's track number 4. So we have finally arrived to the last song on the EP. This song is called Underneath the Stars. I started writing it in July of 2021. Surprise, surprise. All of these songs I wrote in college. At the time, I was subletting in the summer in my best friend's apartment, and there was this jam that we had where I just like invited a ton of like random friends who played instruments, and my friend Steve brought his flute, and then we just started like playing, and he came up with this really cool melody. And we were like, oh, like that's great. And so then I was like, oh my God, like Underneath the Stars. So my grandpa had passed away earlier that year, and he was like my biggest fan. He did not make it to my graduation from the music school. I remember when I was writing what ended up becoming the lyrics to this song, I was very much in this place where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but I can't stop now because you believe in me and you've always believed in me, and I therefore believe that I can do this. The song basically is another existential lyric about dreaming underneath the stars and kind of giving it your all. I don't really see a lot of artists like writing songs about not being sure if like they're actually gonna ever go anywhere. And that's the crazy thing, because that's how we all feel. And so I was like, what the hell? Like, let's just write a song about like dreaming and not really like knowing what will come, and letting that just have its moment and its space. This song to me is like the turn of the tassel after graduation, where it's just like, you know what? Like, these are the songs that I wrote about just like all of the things that I was hoping for and praying for and also working toward, and they need a space in my own history as an artist. And so Underneath the Stars is my closeout to that. I hope that you enjoy. Thanks for hanging with me in my living room with my black guitar and my dying plant, and I hope you have a great day. Ciao!